What's going on, guys? It is your boy Junior from P&P Customs coming back at you with another video. Today we're going to be talking about this Toyota 2023 RAV4. What he came in here for is we're going to do a light upgrade, specifically fog lights. See how he has nothing there? There's a plastic trim. Let me just dig this out of my pocket. Boom, check that out. And it's a lot more darker than the plastic trim, and I think the black housing is going to look amazing on this vehicle. So obviously this is a pair. We're going to install one here on the right, or no, this is the left and then the right. There you go, left and then right. It's going to look absolutely amazing. You can see that it has bulbs as well, so projection, and it also has illumination, which would be the sequential signal lights. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to remove the bumper. I'm not going to show you guys how to remove the bumper because there are like billions of videos on how to remove the bumper. It's also pretty simple, very standard. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that done and come back to you guys, because what's important is I'm going to show you guys how to wire this stuff and how to mount it. But dismounting the bumpers everywhere already.
The seasons come and go like thoughts of you, like a wave returns to the sea into the blue. They change but in a cycle that I can't lose. Each painful but delightful to live through. You came into my life just like another season. Not for them, just a time, just like another season. You came into my life just like another season. Not for them, just a time, just like another season.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is where me, Junior, comes into place. I'm gonna give you guys instructional step-by-steps on how to install these fog lights. Not because it's hard, it's actually plug and play. So you're gonna use the exact same holes, the exact same clips in order to fit it in. But maybe it's your first time installing some mods in your car, so I'm gonna be here every step of the way showing you how to do it. So the first thing we're gonna do is, do you see this harness that's surrounding this panel here? We're gonna go ahead and remove all of those clips just to give us a lot more playroom. Now, you don't want to rip them off because you're going to have to put them back as soon as we install the other fog lights. So just like I do, put a popper panel in between, kind of like a clip. That's why I recorded myself doing all this. That way you guys can follow exactly how I'm doing. You can see I'm shimming that bad boy left and right, and each one will come off. You can see that I'm not tugging on it. I'm simply just shimming the popper panel in between left and right very gently, and it will come off. Now, the clip that you see in the middle is actually not a clip. It's kind of like a sandwich where it grabs onto the panel. So you can see that I'm pulling on it with my hand. That's because that's the right way to do it. Very contradictory of what I said before. But this is the only clip that you do have to pull out. You'll see it's kind of like a sandwich that holds on to the plastic kit itself. But yeah, you can see how much space we have now. A lot of free space. That way we're able to focus on getting this kit out without damaging or pulling any wires. Now, the process of removing these plastic fog light trims is actually quite difficult to explain. It's very easy to do, but I just don't know how to explain. It's better if you guys just watch the way I do it. So basically, the fog light trim itself is held in with tabs. You pull those tabs outwards, and then you push the fog light trim down, not the bumper. You push the tab outwards, push the fog light trim out, and then you work your way around every single tab. Like I said, it's better for you guys just to focus on what I'm doing, because explaining it is actually quite difficult. All right, so that is the right fog light trim out of the way. Let's go ahead and remove the left side of the fog light trim. I already showed you guys one angle. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys another, just in case the last clip didn't help you out much. This is a new angle. Maybe this one can help you out even more. Having the right tools also makes the job a lot more easier. You can see as I'm prying the tabs out and pushing them down, I'm leaving a couple of mini screwdrivers stuck in place. That way they don't come up and clip back in. Don't be afraid that it's a 2023 vehicle, it's a 2024, I don't want to ruin my bumper. No, these things will not come out without force. You have to be a little rough with them. Obviously, don't break them, but you do have to be a little rough with them. If you're being very soft and gentle, it's never gonna come off. So you can see that I'm like I'm not yanking on it, but if I know that the clips aren't there, I know it just needs like a little motivation, a little bit of force, and it will come off very nicely. You guys might be asking yourself, Junior, why did you mute yourself in real life and now you're talking over the video in the future? I did that because we turned on all the ACs and the fans in the shop because it was incredibly hot that day, so you could barely hear me. So I'm like, you know what? I'll just voice over. So pretty much what I'm trying to tell you guys here is that I want you guys to get some kind of electrical tape. That way you can surround your wiring with it, because eventually water and moisture and salt, everything gets in there. Snow, eventually everything will get in there. And if you just leave bare wiring, eventually the wiring is going to come loose. It's going to break off. Now, the lights themselves, yes, they are waterproof, but that doesn't mean that the wiring is. That's why when you look in your vehicle's engine bay, there are pretty much no wires exposed. So you can see that I wrapped all of my wiring with electrical tape, and I'd recommend that you do too. All right, so let's get these bad boys on. I mentioned that you're going to use the exact same tabs, the exact same clips, because it's a plug and play manner. So just get the right one. So if you're looking at the left hole, put the left fog light trim in. So make sure it matches up. Be careful with the lighting. You don't want to scratch it as you're putting it in. You can see that I was putting the wrong one. So I went ahead and got the right one. And do you see all those tabs surrounding it? You have to make sure that they clip in. If you just put it in and you're just guessing, it seems a little tight, I think it's good. Maybe while you're driving, they might fall off, because the only thing that is holding these guys in is the tabs. Now, they're very hard to push in. The way you know if they're in or out is if you hear that click. There's like a clicking sound on each one. You can see that I'm struggling just a tiny bit, just because, like I said, it is hard. I think it's harder to put them in than to take the original ones out. I don't know why. I guess because it's a very tight fit. That way it never falls off. But you can see that I'm also using my tools to help me out. I'm pushing the bumper upwards while I'm pushing the fog light trim downwards. Hand positioning with this force is actually very important. That way you don't break the fog light. You can see that I'm not putting my hands on the fog light at all. I'm just pushing the pressure points. That way it clips in. I'm gonna try to get some clicking sounds for you guys. That way you know what it sounds like when it does click. Oh, but before I do that, I almost forgot. That clip that you took off in the beginning of the original ones, those go back into the aftermarket ones. You can see that I'm putting it back in. There you go. Those are the clicking sounds of approval. That means that they've gotten in and they've hooked onto the trim. That way they're not going to come off. I'm not gonna lie to you, sometimes they don't clip and it's very confusing. You can tell by just looking at the hook itself. If it hooks onto the plastic trim, then that means that it's good. Just in case if you don't hear any clicking at all. Now, when you buy the fog light kit here at PMP Customs, we offer this resistor that you're supposed to install with the fog light trim. What this does is that it pretty much makes it so you don't get hyper flash. Now, we bought this H11 to wire adapter. You don't need this. The reason we have this connected is because the client wants us to do a hardwire installation, meaning we're going to connect it directly to his low beam. So when he turns on his low beam or his parking lights, they automatically turn on. I'm talking about the fog lights, because normally what you would do is you would install like a button or something inside the vehicle, and that's what you would wire the connections to. But this client said he doesn't want it that way. He just wants it to be automatic. So as soon as he turns on his headlights, you can say his low beams, the fog lights will automatically turn on. All right, so now that I got my explanation out of the way, I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys my HardWire job in the present, because I feel like you guys can definitely hear me here. So definitely pay attention. If you want, you guys can pause to see my connection. All right, and to show you guys how I did my installation, so you can see that I put the box there and I zip tied it to the actual frame of the vehicle. So the short wire is going to go to the left fog light, and then you have a long one that I ran to over here. Look at that professional installation. Man, I fall in love with my work sometimes. But yeah, look, and then the long one goes to the right fog light, already ready to be plug and play. Isn't that sick? And then I have the power cables. Let me show you. I have the power cables coming up to the engine bay, and obviously we stated that I think the yellow one is going to go to the signal light of the right headlight, and then the green one is going to go all the way to the
left side where this signal light is at. And obviously this is going to be our power and our ground, which would be not constant, but it's going to be our parking light or our low beam. We haven't decided yet. We have to ask the client, but this is the whole point of it being automatic, hardwired to the actual headlight itself. And there you go. You see that's a tight connection, never going to come off. Just to clarify, the yellow long wire, as I mentioned before, it's going to be run to the right headlight to the signal light. This is the signal light bulb. Tap into the positive side, and that is where your yellow wire goes. And the same thing for the green wire. That one goes to the left headlight on the signal light bulb. So we're just going to put this back. There you go. And now all that's left is to tidy up our wiring, put zip ties everywhere. See, this is how I ran my wiring. There you go. And then this one's already connected. The green one's already connected to my my signal light on my left side. All right, and then turn on the parking lights in order to find which plug that you're supposed to disconnect in order to tap into, because you know there's low beam, there's high beam, parking lights, and signal lights in this one headlight. So you can see that the parking lights are on. This is the parking lights. So I'm going to pull out the plug. I believe it's this one all the way in the back. See that when I pulled it out, the parking light stopped working, and this one is still working. So that's the plug we have to tap into. Okay, and then this is the wire that was up there. It's easier to work here because you can pull the plug a lot more. And then obviously, since you have a black and red, the red you're going to connect it to the positive of the parking light, and then the black you're going to connect it to the ground of the parking light. And just for reference, I'm going to show you guys which one is the positive. With a probe tester and the parking lights on, the green one is your positive, and the white and black is your ground. And there you go, that's how your connection should look. Make sure your connection is very tight with electrical tape, that way no water gets in and the tape doesn't come off. Check that out. Alright, so now we can just plug this guy back in.
So we did our connections for the signal lights, we did our connections for the parking lights. Now all that's left is we need the connections for the fog light projection. There's these sets of wires that go under the headlight. What you're going to tap into is the yellow one and the white one. That is your ground and your positive.
So there you go. That's what it's supposed to look like, and you can see I wrapped everything on with factory tape. It would be these, and that one right there, all ready to be connected. So let's slap this baby on, and then hopefully it looks good. Nah, it will look good. Why did I say hopefully? And there you go, that's the brand new look for the face of the vehicle. Even when they're turned off, you can see that they look absolutely amazing. That black housing kind of matches the headlights, and they kind of remind me of like spider eyes. But let's see them when it turns on. Right? That's the parking lights right there. So when you turn on the parking lights, only this turns on here, as you can see. Let's go to this side. Only this turns on. And then we can do the low beam. So now when you turn on the low beam, the actual projection of the lights actually turn on automatic, just the way the client wanted. Wow, that looks amazing, man. And we also connected them to the signal lights, as I mentioned. Signal lights. So that's that side. And we can do it to the other side. And of course, we also put the hazards on, so. Damn, that looks absolutely sick. It kind of reminds me of like spider eyes. But that's definitely a new look for the vehicle. And it's not just the aesthetic, but they also are projections, so it also helps the client see more. We do our best here at PMP Customs. If you guys have any questions for us, I showed you guys our professional installation. So when you bring your car over here, you best believe your car's in the great hands.